I don't know if you're going to talk me out of it. You're going to talk me off the ledge. If you're going to tell me I'm crazy and know the Pacers have a chance, but I'm interested in your thoughts. What do you make of the Pacers and the Thunder here in the NBA Finals?
I think it would be a good series. A lot of people are not so happy with, the two teams that we have here, but the style of play is very fun to watch. It should, make for some high scoring games, up tempo, high scoring games. But I'll start off and say I'm not sure that happens. I'm not sure it happens in the first one out the gate. I mean, we do have an OKC team that's had a week off. Pacers also have, I think, 4 days off. You could always come out the gate and see that rest for both of these teams. Also, Thunder, number one defensive team, as much pace, as good of an offensive team as the Thunder are, as the Pacers are, the Thunder can still slow them down. So I looked at NBA finals over the past 20 years. The first half specifically is 60% to the under. 18-4 over the last 24 finals games. And if you look at the first four games, it's even higher, like a little bit above 63%. So I could very well see the start of this series be a little bit slower than everybody expects. I know the market is has already pushed it up from 229 and a half to 231, but that's first half specifically, I think is an under. So that's my initial thought in this game.
Any props that you're looking at? Series props, game one props? Anything jump off the page for you?
Well, I'm still going to think a little bit more about props. But what I will say is there's a couple guys I would expect to have success. I mean, I think the bigs for OKC could really take advantage here. Maybe you look at Chet on the rebounds, Chet on double double. I think he's a guy who's a mismatch problem and sees a lot of minutes and should get those rebounds. So Pacers, not the best rebounding team. That's kind of a guy I'm looking at. SGA, I felt in this, when you bet the first game, a lot of it is how you expect the game to go matchup wise. Like my thought would be the Pacers try their best to get the ball out of his hands. His assist prop was 6.5. I'm pretty sure I think he's had 8 both times he's played the Pacers. Especially at home where the role players shoot a little better. I can see him dishing it to some of those guys, knocking down some threes and getting him to his assist prop. So whether it's Chet double double, Chet rebounds, SGA assists, those are guys that I'm looking towards as far as props.
Um, I talked about. I think I think the Thunder minus 2.5 on the games. I don't know, Ski. Do you think?
And that's a
I
Pacer
don't know.
fan right there.
I just know my team. I did a breakdown video on this entire series for some series props and Ski. Tell me if I'm wrong here. I look at the Pacers. I just say the Thunder are a better version. We have Halliburton, what top 15 player? They have SGA top 2. We have Miles Turner. They have Chet and Hartenstein. We have a good bench. They have a good bench. We have Neesmith, who's now a little banged up. They have Dort. It just feels like just a little bit better every single step of the way. Am I wrong about that?
I do agree with a lot of what you had just said. I mean, the star power, like guys who can create their own shot too, a lot more for the Thunder. I think the biggest difference for me is just the defense. Like we don't think of Indiana as a defensive team at all, even though they play some better defense in these playoffs. But the Thunder, that's part of their reputation. So I think it does play a part. The more the series goes on, I have to give the Pacers more credit than a lot of people think because I think Rick Carlisle is the better coach. So they have that edge. I expect him to make some adjustments once he sees what the Thunder throw at him. And Hallie has shown that, he can be flustered for a game, but once he gets those answers from his coach, he can go out there and execute. So I think once they see what's thrown at them, they'll be able to compete a little bit better. So don't give up hope on, maybe they could win a couple games there, Andy.
Um, I also wanted to ask you just big picture before we let you go here. I think this is a perfect representation of what the NBA playoffs and finals is going to look like under the new salary cap. I don't think I think the deep teams are the new big three. I don't think the teams that blow all their salary on two guys are going to make it to the finals. And look what you have. You have two small market teams who were brilliant in the draft, free agents, trades. They know how to grind their way without making it, making these huge contracts. And with this new apron, these teams are not going over the luxury tax. You look at Boston. Boston's pretty open. They're not paying the luxury tax. Some guys have got to go. Do you think this is just kind of this is what the finals is going to look like? It's deep teams instead of the huge star powers? Is this what we're looking forward to?
I don't look too much into the apron and stuff, but I know that's what they want. They don't want to see the same teams over and over again. They want teams to build organically And it does seem like, OKC is trying to become that next dynasty team. I mean, they still have a lot of first round picks now, and they're in the
Yeah.
finals. So
Yes.
I think it's a different kind of way you have to do things nowadays in the NBA. And these two young teams are, showing you an example right there. So